Hello, welcome to Line War. Today we have Rune versus Vegas, and Rune sent this through my Discord, so feel free to do the same if you wish to have your replay viewed here as well. And right now we have Rune starting off in this section of the map, bottom left hand part of the map, and Vegas is in the top left part of the map. Vegas is going fully into eco. He set up his structures before his lines. Now he's just sorting out his lines. He's got one troop there who I assume this line is going towards. There we go. And they're going to meet here, so they're going to have the whole right-hand side of the map to expand to. Rune, on the other hand, has set up his lines. He hasn't done anything with his cash yet, and as I say that, he's now building eco, so they're both pretty much going for the exact same strategy. Or opening, should I say. So we've got three, yeah, pretty much exactly the same. 3 industry and 2 towns. 3 industry and 2 towns, then we've got 3 barracks being set up by Rune. Vegas already has 1 factory being set up, so here is where it's different. We have different units about to be produced. And I don't know when this video is going to be released, but it should be somewhere... I'm not sure, actually. It's towards the end of July, so... In September, we plan to open up a new channel where we're going to be trying to cast Command & Conquer gameplay from Red Alert 3, Tiberium Wars, and Kane's Wrath. And probably the Remaster Collection. So if you're interested in that, feel free to comment down below what you want to see. And that will be opening on the 1st of September, because that's after the school holidays. And it looks like Rune is setting up his forces coming in through here. I don't think this is intentional, but they are literally in a line. Doing a sweep of the territory. Vegas is setting up a city with an airfield here, so this will one day be a city. Rune is not going for a city. He is going to try and pretty much expand at this point, but we'll have a look at the eco anyway. So we've got 488. I assume it's going to be about the same. 443. So looks like you want to set up your lines before you set up your structures, I think, because that is how it was done. If I remember correctly, Rune set up his lines first and then his structures afterwards. Pretty much going for the same tactic. Rune is ahead of him. So it looks like Rune is coming this way with most of his units, which will catch Vegas out soon. Vegas has stuck to his opening area, trying to capture this first and then going out. Rune has separate forces to do that, I think. So yeah, he's got one group of units capturing the close nearby areas. But something interesting, this map is almost balanced because we do have this extra little choke point that allows them to escape even if they get cut off here. So both players can come around either this way or this way. They do not need to control the center. There will be no block. That's it, is nearly built there. Some of these excess units are going around to the side here, already taking advantage of that choke point. Or that escape access, if you like. Rune is going to do the same there. And he's got an airfield up too now. We've got 3 barracks, 3 barracks, 1 factory, another barracks over here, and an airfield. Which Vegas has 2 factories and an airfield. So Vegas is behind on production. Because he spent so much money on this city, I think. That's what's keeping him behind. But he is building strikers with this airfield. And he is expecting some air units. He's got a SAM unit there and he's building an energy well. So unfortunately for Vegas, he is going to be quite a bit behind when it comes to production because of the amount of eco he spent building himself up. But if he can hold out for long enough, Rune might be in trouble in that regard. But Rune is going to be ahead in unit production. So I'm probably just going to speed this up for a little bit. If it'll let me. There we go. We've got an airstrip coming out now. This probably for extra production rather than range, but maybe a bit of both because it's not too far ahead. Energy well is set up now. And from Rune's point of view, he has 2 airfields up. They're both producing strikers, I believe. Yeah, they're strikers. both of them. So Rune is going to have a superior air force as well, maybe, because he's got 2 airfields. I feel like we're going to have an engagement soon, so I'm going to slow it down. This is first contact. Neither player can actually see each other yet, but they are really close to each other. There we go. Rune has spotted Vegas, and Vegas can now see Rune just coming in there. And as soon as he spots that, he's bringing all of these units here into this section. But they're still on flag commands, which means these 2 units are straying off this way, while these 3 are capturing. I don't know if that's quite what he wanted there, or whether he wanted all units at the front, or some units to stay back. However, he's not neglecting this area. He's building commandos here and a tank there. And he's mostly going for Sam here still, so... These strikers are coming in. I've just noticed these guys are repairing. Oh, that's because they're building a defense. I thought they might have been attacked. But no, they're building defense, which lowers their health. And they're repairing from that now. The strikers are coming in. Rune can see this. I don't think Rune's willing to reveal his strikers just yet. But he does... Oh, he is. He's going to go for these structures now that he's spotted those with his 3 strikers. Nearly 4. But those strikers currently are pretty much unchallenged. He's got 1 SAM unit here, which is going to be brought into this line here. And I've noticed that with these strike commands, it's probably better to do a circle command here, because once 2 could be linked to this strike command, and when they go, they're just going to go back, and you're not going to have as much firepower here. So sometimes it's better to use a circle command. Unless you are specifically targeting just 1 structure, and you don't care about the rest. Like a rocket, for example. Rune has also changed up his commands. He's left a group over there, but he's also sent some up here and around to join in on this fight. So Vegas' point of view, he can see these strikers coming in, and he's taken away this defensive line, bringing his SAM all the way down this route. Try and take out these strikers. I don't think they're going to reach in time to save these structures at all. But they are going to try and defend this area. Over in this section, neither player has spotted each other yet, so the second area of contact is not going to be seen just yet. From Rune's point of view, he's going to go that way, but just not yet. Rune is trying to close him off, even though he's got these little routes around. It looks like he is trying to minimize his ability to expand. One of these structures go down. He's got the other one very heavily damaged. That will go down very shortly, and the strikers are going to get attacked by the SAM units now. It's unfortunate for Rune that he just doesn't have enough SAM units in the area at the time. But it does look like Rune is taking good advantage of this initial engagement. And now from Vegas' point of view, he's bringing the SAM units into a fight he no longer needs to defend. He still needs to hold this area though, but he just doesn't have the right units at this time in the game. But he should have a really strong economy. So just after first engagement, now that the city has been built, I'm going to wonder what their eco is. So we've got Vegas, who should have the most with the city, but lacks in expanse. Maybe he's at 827, and Rune is at 896. So even with the city, Vegas cannot keep up with Rune. And Rune's going for a transport boat here. I think this was just in case he didn't manage to succeed in this engagement here. I think that was thinking ahead, and I think he thought ahead too much there. Because it might be considered a bad investment here. Because he's already got control. But it could end up being a good thing later on. Especially grabbing these territories, and if you can get rid of the cost of the boat, it will still make up for itself, a navy yard as well. And Vegas has found the enemy there. With 2 industries and another town being built, he is really invested in eco, trying to make sure he can hold off for as long as possible. At the same time, he's using his tanks to defend against these infantry, but just more keep showing up through the fog of war. which is unfortunate for him. So this is the second point that they are engaging at. The tanks will be quite powerful in this location, especially backed up by the infantry. And with Rune bringing his infantry in, sort of streaming, it might be a good idea to try and line them up. If I just check the SAM over here. So the SAM are lined up with a defense command, but if they were an orange line command like this, you might be able to bring them in all at once so they can fire a lot quicker. There's a lot of strikers here fighting each other. Strikers are not very good at anti-air, but they can shoot down air units. And being over this area where there is SAM anti-air on the ground, they will take out the red strikers faster. But the SAM units on the ground here have gone down. There is just one left. And those strikers will fight another day. Over here, the tanks were sufficiently enough to overpower these infantry that were coming in over this area. So the strikers have been called in to go this way instead. I think he feels like he's got the control over here. But that tank there as well is going to be a pain to deal with. But that is enough infantry, I think, to take out that tank. But it is being backed up by 5 artillery now. So it looks like, although Vegas might be behind, he has quite a stable defense right here. He's got a unit to tank the damage, and he's got artillery to fire at the enemy while they're trying to destroy that heavily defended unit. There is certainly not enough infantry there to take this out now. He's going to need to retreat, or, well, fight this battle anyway, because he's going to get in there, but he needs to come up with a new plan. Those strikers were more than enough to take out those tanks there. And Rune has set up a factory over here. And he can defend this area with the strikers, and I think he's pretty confident with that, but they might be just out of range, really, to go too far from this. So Vegas' plan over there is to pretty much retreat and build up, I think. He does still have some units going around here, so he has got some territory claiming over on this side of the island. But Rune does have a sufficiently larger landmass than Vegas at this point in the game. And Vegas is feeling much more confident now. He's going to head his artillery forward with his tanks, claiming the territory as he goes. Straight through Rune's army. And Vegas also managed to build a navy yard there. We've got a boat down, and he's got some territory going through here now. So Rune has to deal with that too. Luckily, he's nearly done with capturing it, and he's got reinforcements coming in via these boats, so it's not too bad. And he has turned production off here, so he's not wasting too much cash on the boats there. His strikers has spotted this town here. He's going to try and take it out with a strike command. And those strikers are going to destroy that pretty quickly. Down it goes. We've still got the industry there, which will be really useful later on. The strikers are coming in here to take out these guys before they can take up a defense there. The SAM units are trying to build up in numbers to try and take on the strikers, but the strikers just won't give them enough time to build up their numbers. And it feels like Rune is going to be on the run here. He hasn't got enough ground army to take on them, and he hasn't got enough anti-air units to take on the air units either. On the other hand of this, though, it does look like he is going to stop these guys from taking over the territory for a little while. And he does have a large amount of strikers, and this doesn't have much anti-air in it. He is holding his anti-air really far back to protect his base instead of trying to protect his army. So I'm going to assume that Rune is going to take full advantage of that. There we go, he's sending in his strikers. And that is a lot of strikers. About 10 strikers going in now. And I can't imagine that tank's going to last much longer there. There we go, that tank's gone down now, but unfortunately Rune is going to struggle with his energy. These strikers can't stay there for too long. Vegas, on the other hand, is bringing his strikers to the left-hand side of this fight to take on this infantry, which is also unprotected from anti-air. And from Vegas's point of view, his army's just been destroyed, mostly. But it's much more manageable for Rune now to deal with that. And the infantry on the left, he's trying to take out before they can take out his structure and territory in that location. Over here, though, we got some commandos sneaking off towards this energy well. I think he was hoping there was something there. But either way, he's just trying to go around the striker's range point there. And we got 2 artillery here fighting 1 defended artillery. But unfortunately, the fortifications just weren't enough. We now have the SAM coming through now just in case the strikers come back. I don't think that is enough SAM to take out the amount of strikers that Rune has. But it should cause a fair amount of damage and a few losses. But Rune is just bringing in a load of infantry to this area. And those strikers are not enough to take him out yet. Looks like Rune's happy just building up a small fleet of artillery over there. And although this was more manageable, it looks like the artillery are just not placing in time. Because this is a defensive line, building these fortifications will reduce their health a little bit until they get a chance to repair. So I don't suggest using this black line to start with. It looks like those strikers and the artillery here are going to be able to take these units out now. It looks like Rune will not get the kill on this and not kick Vegas out of that little part of the island. As for Vegas, what's he doing with his commandos? He's realised there's an opening. He's going to bring some units around here. The commandos are just going to sit there until they receive a new order. The strikers have been brought in to take on this army in the centre here. There is a lot of SAM units and a lot of tank, well, a lot of health for them to go through before they can actually destroy everything there. And that's going to slow down their progress on the SAM units. There we go, some strikers are going down. Some are heavily damaged. Which is a bit unfortunate for Vegas. If he was able to focus on more of an individual target, he might have actually been able to destroy more of those strikers. And on this side of it, we've got 1 lone unit here, waiting to defend against these strikers and artillery. I hope he's a Spartan. There we go. So, it looks like these artillery might end up breaking through unless Rune is willing to sacrifice some more of his strikers. Which, to be fair, after some repairs, might be worth it. So over here we have Rune sending his artillery in this way. He's spotted some units coming through, so he's going to bring his commandos. He's got a little commando army going on here. He's going to bring his commandos here to check on what's going on. These artillery are trying to take out commandos themselves, but unfortunately there are not enough numbers of them to even see the commandos that much anymore. And they will not survive that, unfortunately, for Rune. So Vegas has also expanded over here. He's bringing his units back. He hasn't done anything else over here. It might have been wise to try and get something set up that way, but he is building another town, so he's still heavily invested in eco. And is definitely planning for the long term of this game. Strikers have been called in once again. They look like they've been fully repaired. And with the amount of SAM here, I don't think these 5 strikers will be able to get into this area, but there should be some more here. There's only 1. Might be a bit hard for them to actually break through this with the amount of strikers and SAM in the area. Looks like Vegas is going to try and run away from that area. Does not want to get caught in that swarm of strikers. Has Rune still got transports going? He has the command still set up, but he just doesn't have any units going that way anymore. Might be wise to have captured these territories. I think each territory is 12 per minute. So that's an extra 36 capital a minute you could claim there. Correct me if I'm wrong. Commandos are moving in through this area. They've found a load of SAM units, and that is a lot of commandos. I think they're actually going to win this engagement, especially with support from the strikers. And here they come in. So these strikers might take a fair amount of damage, but they will be able to clear up this mess. Over here, he's building up his wall here again, and he will be able to do that because Vegas is not going to try and push through there. Vegas is focused on this section of the map. And it does kind of feel like Rune has been caught into the, or backed up into the corner of the map. He tried to surround the enemy Vegas, but instead now Vegas has sort of surrounded Rune. I mean, Rune has expanded down this way and is still collecting a lot of territory. So Rune is still doing alright for himself right now, but it looks like Vegas might be able to seize an opportunity there to take or trap him in. There we go, so it looks like they did clear up that area. We have units streaming in sort of one at a time here, so they might get caught off guard. Might be wise to build up these units before starting to send them out. On the other hand, we have a large amount of artillery just stood there waiting, and there's a big gap in the middle. But that will get filled in by the units coming through. On the other hand, in this section, Rune did try to build up some infantry forces to take on the artillery, but I don't think it was building up enough, and I think he's kind of forgotten about them because they are not being... they're not given any command yet. And I think Rune has forgotten about these guys who were meant to be going up here to collect this territory, but they've been caught on this command here, going this way now. There are a lot of units here. There's only a couple of slams. These strikers will probably be the most effective unit in this area right now. However, the commandos are stealthed, so I don't know how that's going to end up affecting with the amount of strikers he's got. I think they will be able to reveal pretty much all that's there. We've got some strikers coming in down this area, as these units have been moving forward, but I think the artillery should be enough to take them out. But he doesn't want to lose his units when he can just send his strikers in for free. And he is just going to try and take them out with the strikers, which is not a bad idea there. And these forces are going to come through. They're going to plow through the commandos that were there now. The strikers are not enough to hold back these infantry and artillery that's coming in. They're not taking too much damage. Well, some of them are actually. Some of them heavy damaged. But I didn't think they'd take too much damage, but they're just not doing enough damage themselves either. Over here he's doubled the line of defense, and for some reason there's still a gap in the middle. And it looks like the pressure is being applied over here. Rune is quite exposed now. And he's still trying to utilize his transport boats, and he's bringing them through the center of this area. He's got his SAM in the mountains there, which means Vegas can't see them unless they start firing. So they should start to go invisible. Or stealthed. Though I think he's got enough accumulative vision here, so I think that's what's keeping them visible right now. So it looks like Vegas has a nice steady stream of units going into his base right now that is fairly unchallenged. But also Vegas can see the amount of units that are here, which must be somewhat terrifying. And if I was him, I'd be trying to build a nuke. But I think that's my solution to every situation in this game. There we go. The strikers are going to be able to take out this stream now. And I think they've got a bit more control here. And I think that Rune is focused too much on... No, not Rune. Vegas is too much focused on the enemy now. And not so much on the actual map. He seems to have forgotten that there is still this area of the map potentially to claim. Which is something that I think Rune did. I wonder if he corrected, because he's... yeah, he stopped collecting the territory here. He still has this potential territory to claim, and Rune is out of money. I have just spotted that Rune is out of cash. He's got 1,300 per minute, but he's losing 1,400. Vegas, on the other hand, is at 1,300 per minute, but losing 1,100. So he still has something he can do with his money. But Rune might want to consider trying to go on the offensive for a bit. Maybe even stop the stream of units coming in through here and send them this way. Even if it was only for a bit. It looks like he's been destroying some of his production to try and increase his economy. Unless that sounds like something familiar. No, it just sounds like stuff coming up from here. I thought I could hear commandos in his base then. Yeah, Rune has completely forgotten about this section. I don't know if he'll go back to it later on. Because I know he was intact in this area and that's what brought most of his units up this way. It looks like Vegas has his units getting slowly closer because they're building up in numbers, and one of the tanks has been caught out and taken out, and this SAM unit might get caught out too next. Yep, there we go. So some of these units from Vegas are going to end up trying to go towards the enemy, and they are going to end up getting shot. Picking off the strays has been a way to win this game more often than not. And at the same time, Vegas is going to get trapped in the middle of these strikers and infantry. How's Rune set up that command? Has he just done a circle? He has. He's done a circle right here, so this is going to take out most of these units here. Which will keep his strikers safe, because they're going to take out the SAM units, I think, first, to be fair. Yep, they're targeting that first. And then they're just going to clear up the rest for Rune to allow his infantry to go forward even more. And Rune has set off the big fight over here. He's taken away his defensive line. He is pushing forward with his artillery. And I think this is more than enough artillery to take full advantage of this choke point here. And it looks like Vegas is distracted over here and hasn't even responded to this attack in the middle right now. So these units are being backed up by the strikers. They're going to push through this way. Vegas isn't doing anything about this army right now. And they are pushing forward pretty heavily and nothing's being done about it. So Rune is going to get a pretty strong advantage in this fight. He's finally figured it out. He's sending his units into the battle. Unfortunately, he's sending them right through the middle, and they are already concaving around him. And I have never seen a better concave with an army this size before, so I can't imagine Vegas' attack is going to actually last much longer, even if they are tanks. They are getting absolutely shredded. Which is unfortunate. For Vegas, anyway. I'm sure Rune is happy about this attack, to be honest. There we go. He's sending his strikers in through this line here, straight into the middle of this. And from Rune's side of things, he can see them taken off. He is moving his SAM straight away, so Rune is doing very good at managing his units. The only way that could have been better is if he had predicted it and moved them there earlier. But I can't say much because I'm not very good at the game myself. I'm not predicting stuff anyway. There we go, so these strikers are going to get absolutely torn apart by this amount of SAM behind the front line of artillery here. The strikers are going down one by one really fast. There's one left, it's down already. The artillery are going to push straight through this section of the map. Over here, it looks like Rune has failed to defend. And Vegas has the advantage on this side of the map. Unfortunately for him, though, it's just not quite a sizable army that Rune has built up. But artillery take a while to shoot down structures and move forward, whereas tanks and SAM don't. So Vegas' army might be able to tear through the base a lot faster. And he swapped out his strikers for interceptors now, so instead of trying to target the ground, he's going to use them to try and target the air units that attack his base. We have a rocket over here. So Vegas is planning to produce a rocket, but he just doesn't have the economy to build it yet. He needs 500 in the bank to start producing it. And we have Rune's little boats going across the water here to try and get him behind this base. Instead of defending from the attack here, which he's hoping to do with these commandos, I assume, he's going to try and get in the back and try and do as much damage as he can to those structures. And he's also doing the exact same thing over here with some commandos, trying to get behind these frontline units. With some transports and extra commandos, so Rune is managing quite a lot of battles right now, most of which he's winning, some of which he's starting, and some areas in which he's going to have to defend quite hard with. Unfortunately for Vegas, I just don't think it's quite going his way at the moment. These artillery are pretty good. They're going to take out anything that tries to come close to them. This rocket has started being built, so he spent his 500 credits, and this will take a few minutes to build. I don't think it's going to be quite enough, so I think Rune got lucky spotting that rocket there and just placing his units by mistake in that area. Not necessarily by mistake, but just random chance. When this boat starts coming out, there he is, he's going to start sending this way too. Rune is using his strikers as well as these commandos to defend this area, so this area is going to be really hard to try and break through without a sufficient amount of SAM units to back it up with. But they are going to slowly get through. They are doing a fair amount of damage to these strikers, and eventually, if the effort persists, they will break through. We are now using interceptors to try and stop these boats getting through there, and at this point in time, Vegas hasn't really noticed this area yet. So Vegas certainly tried to go all eco into this game, and it's just not gone his way. Eco and tanks, these interceptors are going to get shot at by these SAM, and I don't think it was enough to take it out. He's on fire, but he will survive. We have the biggest amount of artillery in one small section I've ever seen, and if that rocket actually does make it, I know where it's going to shoot. That's exactly where I'd fire it, but it's just, I guess it's not going to survive, is it? That is unfortunate for Vegas. Luckily for Rune, though, because if he didn't send these small boats out, this rocket would probably have destroyed these before it managed to get to the city or anything majorly important. Probably would have took out a lot, but taking out an army that size could have been a game changer in this. And it looks like Rune's actually not targeting that rocket anymore. Oh, he is. He's moving in closer. There we go, but it looks like the artillery are going to be run over by a tank, but they can't crush it, so it's okay. Over here, the artillery have advanced in there. Commandos are taking stuff out from behind. But that rocket is about to go down, so that, I think, is Vegas's last hope there. Though, to be fair, the tanks are doing a very good job at defending it. They might survive. I've seen Stranger Things. Not the TV show, I mean Stranger Things in this. It's only got 2 artillery there. It survives. That rocket is still standing. It looks like Rune might be in trouble with this army, at least anyway. The commandos will still survive. I can only assume that that's where he was going to fire it, is at this big army here, right in the choke point. There is absolutely nowhere for them to escape. The rocket is now ready. Has he fired it yet? He's firing it now. It looks like it's going this way. I'm going to assume it's going to hit that. He's got to fire it here, doesn't he? I think Rune knows about the rocket. He's trying to move him on arrow commands. He's trying to get out of the way, but it's just not going to be fast enough. Vegas sent his interceptors there as well. Luckily, none of them got affected, but what happened there? Oh, I've seen this happen before, and I bet Vegas is extremely confused, but I think someone mentioned it in one of my videos where it happened to me. It looks like the rocket was killed in the same frame of the gameplay as it was detonated. So it went off and died at the same time, showing the animation, but not having any effect on the battle. So it looks like Rune managed to destroy that rocket. Rune's taken out some of his own structures here to take out any costs that they are taken from him. Vegas has some strikers back again, and not from this area I don't think, so he must have another airfield somewhere else. Unless they are being produced here. I think they are being produced here, that's fine. Which is unfortunate, because this is a lot of interceptors to go down. That's a lot of capital going into pieces. And Rune is trying to take him out really fast. On the other side of things, it looks like Vegas has not managed to take out this area yet. He is still trying to focus in his units this area, but they are not breaking through. So from this point of view, we've got literally they're just going in one line, and Rune is dealing with them with artillery before they even become a problem. But that's going to be really unfortunate for Vegas. Imagine if he'd set off his rocket just like here. There we go, it's the end of the match. But if he set it off here, it would have landed in time because it would have took less damage. And it would have blown up the entire army. That is a shame for Vegas. Anyway, let me know what you thought of this match. I'll see you in the next video, because there's 2 videos on screen right now. You know what to do. I'll see you there. Thanks for watching, and remember to subscribe. See you around.